very interesting and enjoying discussion. What's up, Mr. Scott?
Hey, sir. Good evening. How are you?
Reverend.
Evening, sir.
Well,
Hey, man. I'm
gang,
excited to
the
be
gang's all here.
for
How y'all doing?
Yes, sir.
I just had a noni, but I might get another one.
I might get another one too. Sure.
It's been an incredible day.
Yeah.
I like Reverend Vickers' glasses, man. What pair of glasses you got on today, man? You always keep a fresh pair, man.
He's the same one you saw me in last time. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir. Keeping up with you.
Huh?
Keeping up with you.
Nah, man. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with you, man. Vickers takes our glasses to a whole nother level, man.
I've been wearing them since 10 years old, so I better try to shift them up a little bit, you know.
I understand, my brother. I understand. Same here. Same here.
Indeed.
Hey, is there a button here to share? Share to the page. Mr. Williamson, can you share that with me?
Okay, I'm getting some instructions from the background about sharing. Go to my wife. She said go to my wife said go to her page and share it to your page.
Okay.
So, let's see.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, are we ready to get started?
Indeed.
Okay, I know we'll have some more gentlemen that will be joining us. So we want to say good evening to everyone. My name is Dexter Scott, and I'm up here with some phenomenal men. We may have some other men dropping in as we're getting some text messages that they'll be joining us. So welcome to the Man Cave Conversations. Some of you all were able to listen to us. I think it was Men's Health Month last month. We were able to come on and share. We were sharing some great information. The men really dug deep and shared some things. And you know what we said? We're going to continue that conversation, and we wanted to do it before the month of August came in. So I'm really glad for the push to go ahead and get this information done. We're going to be talking about something tonight that I think is paramount for men to discuss. I got some information here, and I wanted to just read something. Now, men, we have a tendency we have a lot of things going on in our head. We could literally be in the same room. Like Tanya and I could be in the same room, and our daughter's in there, they're talking, they're carrying on, they're doing certain things. And she could say, "Hey, did you hear me?" And I'm like, "No." And see, the reason I'm not listening is because I'm in my head. And a lot the men, I'm sure you guys that are on now, you can agree that men, we get in our heads, and there are a lot of things that we deal with. Well, I turned 50 years old last October, and there were some things that I, as a man, I was dealing with, and I just couldn't technically talk to somebody about it, but it was just internal conversations that was going on. And now, one of the things that men do not talk about is our physical health. We definitely don't talk about our mental health, but we don't talk about our physical health as it relates to us getting older. Our bodies start experiencing some things, and we wanted to bring this conversation to you all tonight to talk about some things that's on our minds, but also to make some recommendations, some things that we have that we believe that men will definitely benefit from. So one of the things I pulled up, the topic of libido. Very sensitive topic, but it's a topic that we need to talk about. It says men may not talk about their libido for a variety of reasons, including societal stereotypes, insecurities, and other factors. Now, this is interesting. Society may have a stereotype that men are always interested in sex, but men may sometimes not want sex. For example, a man might say, "I have a headache," instead of directly stating what's really going on. That's very important. We always hear that we always say, "Hey, my wife says she's got a headache, so nothing's going on." But we never thought about the fact that sometimes men may come up with those circumstances because there's some things that we're dealing with. So we're going to talk about a variety of different things surrounding men's health on tonight. So we have Mr. Avery Williamson here, the gentleman who kicked off the meeting. We have Pastor Anthony Vickers, and we also have Mr. James King, his wife Natasha. I'm sure she's in the background somewhere because we're all married couples, very close knit couples, and our wives are right there beside us. So I know these gentlemen, their wives are near them also. So hey, why don't we go ahead and just kick this thing off? So gentlemen, you guys just hop in as you see fit. Why is it that you guys think that men have a tendency to not share those personal things? You guys hop in when you get a chance.
I think to a lot of times, how often are men asked the question? How often are, and not all men, but how often are some men asked, "How are you doing?" And then allowing people to actually sit and listen to how he's doing, how he's feeling, things he might be going through. Because you just said it earlier, sometimes the stereotype of being looked at, being judged, because our makeup's supposed to be you're tough, deal with it, don't show emotions and things of that nature. But how often are men giving that safe space where you can, quote unquote, be vulnerable or just talk through things, talk about things outside of going to some type of counseling or something like that? So that might be one of the reasons why.
Okay, so James, let me before we move on. So you brought up something interesting. So what percentage would you say out of 100 that men aren't asked, "How do you feel"? What if you had to just throw a number out? What percentage would you say that we're not asked?
I would boldly say 50%.
Wow. Okay, that's good. That's good. And you all that are listening, especially the women, think about what was just said. Men, 50%. We're not asked how we're doing. That was a very big statement. Thank you for that, James. Who else wants to hop in?
I'd like to hop in, Dexter. Let me ask you this. So when you're saying "ask how you doing," are you referring to their sexual well-being? sexual health? Is that or roundabout? Because I think that a lot of men, we don't ask that question because it's a very highly personal question, right? And there's a lot of shame when you're not like what James Brown used to say, I'm a sex machine, right? There's a lot of shame in admitting that, I got issues in that area. I'm getting older. I'm not in my 20s and 30s anymore. And my testosterone levels are not like they once were, right? So I think that there's a stigma, there's a shame that's associated with it because of stereotypes, cultural stereotypes.
That's good. And let me hop in here real quick, James, and you can come up. Interesting you say that. So one of the other articles I pulled up, it says shame. Men may feel shame about their problems and worry that admitting mistakes will make others think less of them. This can be especially true if they're concerned about their status, whether it be at school, at work, or even in relationships. So that was spot on, Avery. All right, James, you're gonna.
And I was speaking from just a general sense, because if men are not asked from a general sense how you doing, then we know they're not being asked how's your sex life. Are you still, so in that general sense, you have to, I think for men, I think a lot of ladies naturally can talk about their day, can talk about how they're feeling. But most guys don't, because most upbringings then allow for that type of conversations to go on. So go ahead.
No, you brought up a very good point, James, because how many of us were taught by positive male role models how to have a healthy sex life? It's something we had to, unfortunately, in some cases, make a lot of bad choices to discover what was really right. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you. I don't think a lot of us haven't had the proper role models. I mean, in helping guide us into having a healthy sex life. It's something that we unfortunately had to learn along the way on our own a lot of times.
Absolutely. I know I'll be 43 this year, and when it came down to sex talks, I grew up with grandparents, and my mom was a single mom, and grandparents say, "Boy, keep your bridges up." Keep your britches up. I ain't know what britches were,
The britches.
But keep your britches up. And then when you look at church conversations, you went from keep your britches up to don't have sex till marriage. Then in school, we were shown all the ugly sides of sex. So it's these three dynamics of having a sex conversation, and they were cool, but when you really look at it, when were we ever taught the healthy part?
Right.
Taught that sex is an incredible thing. It's a gift from God. There's a time and a place to do it in a healthy way. But my experience was keep your britches up, wait till marriage, and if you have sex, all this could happen. All this bad stuff could happen. So wear a condom. That was the conversation I had growing up. Right. And then, like Mr. Williamson just said, sometimes we go out, we take all this information, and then go out and experiment, and we just not really taught the healthy way to have these conversations, or how to do things properly and things of that nature. Yeah, so I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah, that's all right. So let's hear from our statesman here, Pastor. Then we'll go to the youngest of the men here, Mr. Ryan P. Go ahead, Pastor Vickers.
I think a lot of what we're saying is important, especially when you deal with the fact that communication for Black men is a very hard thing to do, let alone talk about sex. So we have to consider that, first of all, internalizing what's being shared. I think a lot of us do get the question, how are you, in a lot of different ways, but then we don't have the learned behavior of internalizing that and then expressing ourselves in proper communication.
Mhm.
So what happens a lot is that we fumble and stumble through this sex journey that we have to have to a point where some learned behaviors need to be unlearned because they are unhealthy.
Mhm.
How we utilize the gifts that God has given us, how we create proper relationships, sexual relationships, all that has to be learned properly up front. And then, you communicate with your body as well too. So you have to learn those behaviors so that they're properly utilized. I thank God for the patience of my wife because, as Brother King said, a lot of what we learn is not giving us tools that we need properly up front. So
Right.
we've got to get them on our own.
Right.
And that happens too often for us as Black men.
Mhm. Wow, that's good. Ryan will step in just a moment. Not to take it in another direction, but it goes right along with what you guys are saying is if we are taught to initiate the conversation, then the communication needs to continue about how to handle what I hear. That's a whole nother layer. So if and I think about our son, Tyler, 17, if I have the conversation with him, they say, hey man, how are you? What's going on with you? And whatever he shares with me, I have to be mature enough and as the father to be able to come back to keep the window of conversation open, because we can shut stuff down too, with not intentionally, but we can shut stuff down because the maturity of the conversation hasn't gotten to that point because we haven't talked about those things. So great point and a great segue. So Ryan, you can come on up.
Yeah, I'll chime in, and sorry I came in at the tail end, but I think this is a good conversation, definitely for men to be able to have and be able to share. And I believe, to me, the conversation gets easier as you get married, right? And there's a lot of stress that gets put on men, and men carry the load. We're built for it, right? So I think there's a part about being a man where you're built for a certain level of stress. You can take on certain things for the family. So, if you're going to do the worry and not the whole family and do the worry, or you're going to take on this and not the whole family take on that, those things affect your body. So you just have to listen to your body as well. You're built for it, but you can't take on, unmeasurable amounts, right? Where it's just like, it's just taking tolls. You have to listen for those things and understand that, hey, well, this is not right. I need to start to offload some of these things. And I think that conversation does get easier as you have a spouse you can actually go talk to and kind of rely on them to be there, for you, to give you that, that strong advice. And I think we talked about this in the last session. If things are going on, you need to go see a doctor, right? Just don't be ashamed. Something's going on, the earlier you catch it, the better the results are, right? In most cases. So I think just having those conversations and be open and honest. And I think a lot of men, well, I won't say a lot, most men, they even struggle when it's time to have kids, right? Because having kids for some men can be very stressful when you're actually trying and you're going through the process. And some people think it just happens overnight, just like, one time and we're ready to go. But different people have different things going on, and sometimes it's not the one time. Sometimes it can be the one time, and sometimes it takes work. And that can bring on a whole different level of stress. So I think it's healthy conversation to have that. And if you see things are not right or not, going how they should be, go get help or go get support. And it could be just the stress level that's causing things not to function as properly. And once you start to offload those things, you start to exercise, you maybe start taking some good healthy vitamins to help your body navigate this time, you'll see a world of difference.
Right. Wow. That's a great point, Ryan. I was what you just said, I thought about it is, so this is for the women, you guys. If your husband is maybe seem a bit distant, or he's not talking. We just want to tell you, just want you to understand that sometimes we internalize things, and we're thinking, I know I do, we think ahead. We might be 3, 4, 5 years ahead, but we're watching a movie, but we're not at the movie. We're ahead. And it could be some triggers that are going on that's causing us to think about some things. And that could translate into our physicality. Like, we want to spend some time with you guys, and it just might not happen as it should. And the trigger is stress, dealing with the stress. So Ryan, you bring up a good point. Go and talk to somebody. It is okay to have conversations, and we used to think, I know James brought up a point of that church conversation. It's okay to talk to your pastor. It's okay to have a men's group, but it is also okay to have a professional, a licensed professional, specifically in the area of dealing, a therapist or something, that you can go and talk with about the issues to get it off. So it's just a matter of, I can get it off here, I can get it off here, but it's just a matter of having those conversations. So great points brought up. I got another question for you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I wanted to talk about also, and I had this thought about the effect of pornography, right? That has a big effect on our sex drives. I mean, because when you take lust to a level where lust can be taken to, or sexual desires can be taken to a level where you have experienced everything through pornography, it can diminish your sex drive towards natural affection if you're not careful. And that's real pervasive in our society today. I mean, you think about it, we have the internet, we have access. I remember when I first looked at my first penthouse, I kept that thing underneath my mattress. I think my parents found it when I went to college. But but you think about that, and then you think about how much access we have now, right? You can go to a website basically and just click and you say you're 18 plus. They don't check your ID. They don't check any of that. So can you imagine the influence of that on a young man, 13, 14, or 8 or 9, that has access to stuff like that, and the damage that it causes, and and what has to be undone. Now you get married, you have a wife, but now you're comparing that to the images that you filled your mind with, and that's very hard to undo. So I just wanted to share that very briefly.
Wow, yeah, that's a very powerful point. And you know what, you talk about that aspect, but even us as men, there have been several people that I've been even friends with on Facebook or social media, and everything is fine, and then they post some picture, and it's like, what's going on? And then you just unfollowing, because it's like, why would you take that direction? So we have to always guard ourselves as to the things that just pops up. The access is just there. So great point, Avery. Great point. Anybody else want to hop in on that before we? I got another question I want to ask you guys. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Okay. All right. So here's another question I want to throw at you guys. How men? I mentioned we did a lot of stuff. How do you manage depression when facing problems and not functioning as usual? So what I just brought up a few minutes ago, this takes it a little bit deeper. How do we manage that depression?
Brother Dexter, I think sometimes we don't even identify that it is depression. Sometimes we don't even recognize that what we're going through is taking us down a road that we don't want to travel. So most times we'll just travel that road thinking that we're strong enough, as Brother Ryan said, but it's not even about that. It's about identifying the fact that there's something that's psychologically, spiritually, mentally, and physically happening to me that's bringing me down, that's weighing on me. And I've got to get some relief and release from that. So identifying becomes a big problem, number one to me. I think that's one thing that we don't do enough, men, identify what it really is.
Wow, I really like that, Pastor. Thank you for sharing that. That's identification. That's good. That's good. Anybody else?
One good thing for Natasha and I, because we met in friendship, we openly talk to each other about different things that's going on. So I've been blessed to have a wife who is my friend first.
Mm-hmm.
So she openly, she never takes off the wife hat. She just pushes the button and it comes over. But we're friends.
Yeah.
So because we get a chance to talk often about how we're feeling, what's going on, we haven't missed a beat on, making sure each other is good. So having, like I talked about earlier, having that safe space. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we get a chance to talk often all the time. So I've never been without in this relationship that safe space. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So open conversations. We don't have candid coded conversations. That's how we coined it. We don't fluff each other up, nothing like that. But we get a chance to talk to each other, but at the same time speaking to each other during those rough times. Like I know when my wife is not acting as I know she should be acting, or she knows when I'm not acting, so she can pour that out of me at any given time. So I'm grateful for that safe space. But I get a chance to talk a lot with my wife about things that are going on.
Wow, that's good.
Dexter, go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just chime in really quick, and I think the identification is huge, and sometimes you just got to check yourself, right? And really understand what's going on and how you're feeling. Sometimes we get so much of thinking, to the extra point, far ahead, and what is going to be our next move here? What are we going to do here? How we're going to manage that, and what we're going to do here? That sometimes you're not thinking about in the moment. Like, how are you feeling right now? Like, not how someone else is identifying, not asking a question or someone asking you a question. How are you feeling? Right. And really understanding and doing that to the inner check. And it's like, all right, I feel good. Or, fellas, let's just talk about it. In the morning, if things are not going on, when you wake up in the morning time, you oh, whoa, okay, that's been day 2, day 3, right? You already know in the morning time things supposed to be going on, things supposed to be flowing, right? So we have to start noticing those things, and don't get too far ahead of yourself, or in those little signs that you were getting. Right. I'm having to get up in the middle of the night more often, or in the morning time, things ain't flowing like it should be. You got to really understand those things and start figuring those things out sooner, and not, day 14, day 20, wait a minute, right? Because sometimes it could be getting too far down the road. So really just being in tune with self, to understand when something is something off, right? If you go out to your garage and your car is not there, you're going to notice that immediately. Why? Because you got to get to where you're going, right? And sometimes we put our self-feeling or understanding where our bodies are on the back burner, because the subconscious mind usually runs majority of all of our functions all the time. So sometimes we don't even come from the conscious to the subconscious to really understand, hey, subconscious, are we good? We're so in the conscience and we're thinking everything's fine. So we just got to really be in tune with ourselves and understand when our check engine light is on or flashing, right? To notice that, hey, fluid's low, right? Nope, we need to do better help. We need to go work out. We need to go eat cleaner, to really just be in tune with yourself.
Yeah, I agree with all of you guys. I think that I remember when my wife and I first started the business that she's the CEO of. She runs all of our businesses. And we had just gotten started, and man, I had a panic attack. I mean, I was like, worry had consumed me. And I think it's like one of the first times that I had really felt the weight of life like that. I mean, we've raised 5 children, I had felt that weight, but this was a little different. This was really different. And I never forget, a very important thing. I prayed about it, right? I was like, Lord, what is going on? And as of course, I talked to my wife and talked to my friends and discussed it. But when I gave that thing to God, I felt that weight come off of me. And I think a lot of times, we will go through things in life, like I'm talking about waves and waves of bad news, circumstances, things that are like, like we say, life be life, and right. And we'll go through those moments in life. But I think, having a God that's there for us, right, to help guide us through the storms of life is really important. And knowing, and always depending and trusting in Him, right? I mean, I know some people may be listening that may not be in the spiritual vein. And I'm not trying to proselytize anybody at this moment, but I just wanted to say that, knowing that there's a God that's there and that cares about me and that carries the weight of my concern, is very, I mean, it was clutch for me. And then having my wife, having my friends, having a pastor, having spiritual leaders around me, to and professionals there to help, help me weather this storm. I mean, the Bible says that in the abundance of counsel, there's safety, right? When you have an abundance of wise people around you that have gone through those moments themselves, to kind of to be able to talk to them and glean from them is very important also.
That's good, Avery. Thank you for that. So, we've this is great conversation. And it's we got to have another part to this because it's just so deep. So let me ask you guys this. I have a question here. How do you encourage yourself to stay physically active and fit? Now, this is going to anchor on what Ryan was talking about. Is I know me. You guys speak for yourself, but we're all men. We know that when we may have some intimacy with our spouses, and then the longer it gets from that last event, it's like the testosterone gets to work and you kind of get a little anxious, and it goes right into how do you stay physically fit? That working out is mandatory, because I think what happens, you're sweating out your adrenals, you're getting that extra pressure and that angst out of you to just help you maintain, because hey, life, like Avery said, life is lifing. Sometimes things are just not right. If you got small kids, sometimes the small kids are not acting right. So now the wife is kind of stirred up a little bit. Sometimes we're stirred up by the things that we're doing. Sometimes the dishes might not be done. Now the wife is filled with, it's just all kinds of ways. So one of the things that I do is daily. I haven't done it today, but I'll go downstairs and work out. I know that I'm doing well when the sweat is popping, and I know that I can manage it. So what do you guys think about that? What are some things that you do when that angst comes, or you just start feeling like, how do you get rid of that?
I think the older I get, I know when Natasha and I first got together in our 30s, it was a bit different then than now in our 40s. Yeah, but like you said, as far as staying physically fit, for me, I look in the mirror. That mirror tells me everything I need to see. And then, just if I'm seeing that I'm extra winded, if I'm seeing that I get tired more often, if I'm seeing that clothes don't fit, I know I need to do something. Like a lot of stuff that we go through is obvious that something needs to take place, whether we choose to do it or not. And the longer we wait, sometimes the tougher it'll be to help the situation. Yeah, but I think probably about 5 years ago, my wife and I both was like, life is life, but we can make life a whole lot better than what it is now. So we did start eating better. That played a part in it. We did start mentally doing self-development. That helped tremendously. But we did start working out. We did start paying attention to what we put inside our bodies. What are we using for different things? Yeah, so when we made a decision that I need to change how I'm feeling, because it feels good to feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. Point blank, period. Yeah, so self-development, we had to stay mentally fit. We had to stay physically fit by eating better and definitely exercising when we can. Drinking more water. You don't know how much that will bless your life. Drinking water before you go to bed and when you wake up. So when you wake up, you're waking up hydrated. All that stuff works with being fit. And just, before long, if you do it consistently, you'll see, even when you're having sex, you'll see that you're not winded, but things are just flowing the way it needs to, when it needs to, because you're taking care of the temple. Everything's attached to the temple. And if your bricks on the temple are falling down, then the temple gonna be raggedy. So keep your temple. If your temple need to be rebuilt, rebuild your temple. Because once again, everything is attached to the temple.
Yeah, I love it. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, just real quick. I think you can kind of use the symptoms of how you're feeling as a gauge of your levels, right? Folks told me that if you have low T or too much testosterone, that can actually lead to depression. So see, how are you feeling mentally, right? Maybe you have low T, or maybe you have way too much testosterone going on right now. You need to go release, right? So you just have, use that as kind of your gauge, and how are you, feeling mentally? Because some of those symptoms are also indicators or where you are, right? Like a vehicle, if your car is, letting off too much heat, you're overheating, right? You see smoke come out, just the time you got to go in and, make some changes to get that adjusted. So check in with yourself around like depression, some of those things are indicators around how are you feeling just mentally there, can't focus. Do you even have a sex drive, right? Those can be indicators, right? Usually are warning, right? And if it's not, check in, right? Why are you not wanting? Why are you not feeling that? Why are you not wanting to be intimate? So just really understanding where you are, and those indicators can kind of help you out.
Also, it's important to know your stages in life. When you're young, you feel invincible. You feel like you can just run through walls and what have you. Played sports in my early and late teens. Played basketball all of my 20s, 30s. Put it down. 40s, forget about it. 50, I'm just watching it, right? So, but you have to be intentional about getting to a place where you need to be. My wife is definitely an inspiration. She gets up, she works out, she jumps rope every weekend. She does double dutch. So, and she loves to dance. She loves to do these things. So for me, I have to push myself. I love to walk. That's what I'm doing now. But I used to love to weight lift too. So it's a matter of being intentional at every stage of your journey in life. So when we get older as men, we have to push ourselves more. Younger, physically, it's no brainer for most of us. When we get older, it's a push, and it's worth it to push yourself.
That's good. That's good.
I was I was a late bloomer to the workout phase. I didn't start working out until my late 40s, early 50s, and I didn't start running running like I do now until then. And running has become like my safe place. Now, don't get me wrong. I call myself, I'm like an old car. It's hard to get started. But once I'm running, once I get in that vein, I'm all right. But that's become my safe place. I think, and James said something earlier about working out, how it actually helps your sex life. We don't realize, we hadn't talked about it, but sex is exercise. You exercise some muscles when you have the sex.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep it 100. You're gonna exercise some muscles, and ain't no need to be out of breath. Both of y'all out of breath. You you gotta exercise for endurance. It helps when you live an um, active when you're actively engaged in exercise. So that has been my saving grace. Now that I'll be 60 next year, so that has been my saving grace. Has been
No
exercise.
way. No
Yes,
way.
sir. I'll be 60 next year. I'll be getting the senior citizens meal and go to corral, brother. Yes, sir. I'm gonna get every benefit as a senior citizen. Yes, sir. But but it really has been, exercise has been my saving grace. My wife used to say I was married to the gym. I used to work out 2 3 hours. Now I just do HIIT classes. I do group exercises a lot because it allows me the chance to not hit very important areas and then get home at a timely manner. So, but it's been very important for me. And then the other thing, think about it, guys, for those of us that have children, you're going to have grandchildren, you want to be around for them too, right? You don't want to be the old broke down grandfather or, a grandparent, right? You want to be a healthy, vibrant grandparent that can run around with their kids, that can play basketball still with their kids, that can race with them, that can, do activities with them. So, living a healthy lifestyle not only helps us in the bedroom, but it gives us longevity of life. I read an article, I think I put it on my Instagram story, when they said if you walk 2 to 3 times a day, right? Especially when you walk with your spouse or walk with somebody, when you have conversation with them, it adds years to your life. It adds years. And one of the things that we do, like if we have a new runner, somebody that joins us, we talk to them because before you know it, we'll be so actively engaged in conversation that before you know it, they've done 4 miles. We're done. Now, I'm not saying we ran the entire 4 with the person, but
Yeah.
we create an active, engaging environment so that it stimulates your mind. We call our runs the barbershop because we talk about stuff that we normally talk about in the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I would encourage you, men, to live a healthy lifestyle. If you're not actively exercising, start walking, like Pastor Vickers. Do something. Stay active. Okay.
That's good.
All right.
That's good. Yeah, I was going to say, and I see that Natasha posted something. One exercise that I've been doing it for months now, and I can tell I feel better. Is opening up your crotch area. So just imagine you're standing up, just drop down, and just let your arms hang, and just do it for 5 minutes. But you're opening up I guess your solar plexus area. You're just opening up. It feels great. Sometime when I'm sitting at the office, I'll just drop down and just open my legs up and just get that exercise, because you want to be pliable, as they say. You want to be able to move, have that flexibility. So that's really good, Avery. I gotta as we turn the corner in our conversations, I want to ask you guys a question. And Tanya and I have been blessed to be married 23 years. I remember my aunt and uncle saying something to us several years ago. So, as married people, when we have a desire to be with our spouse, I don't know how the conversation come up, but my uncle and aunt said, this is what we do. It's so funny. They each have a candle on each side of the bed. So if the husband, he says, I really want my wife tonight, he will go over and he'll light his candle. So when she comes in the bedroom, she sees the candle lit. So she knows my husband desires me tonight. So likewise, when she's ready, she lights her candle, lets her husband know, I'm ready for you tonight. They were telling us her candle is like this tall, and he is as burnt down to a nub. I mean, They just want me. But that's what they do. Do you guys have anything like that in your marriage?
Listen, let me say this. One thing I've learned, 37 years of marriage, is that if you make sure she's taken care of, then it does not become an issue when you're ready. I think a lot of times, it goes back to you can't be selfish. There go my wife. That's right, honey. I'm gonna have to holler at you, girl. But anyway, you can't be distracted. But anyway, anyway, we have, I've learned that if I want to have a healthy sex life, I have to make sure that my wife is satisfied. And I think that when both of you try to please each other, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have to defer and make sure she's straight. Well, I try to do that all the time, but then, but that's a whole nother story. But I want to make sure she's straight. I do. Because you know what that does? That makes it easier for me to engage again. That's so right. That your aunt and your uncle, they have a healthy sex life. Yeah. Even though his candle was down to here, the fact that she wanted to light her candle says a lot.
Now, so look, so hold that thought, Avery. So Tanya, let me know. It's a little part I didn't explain. So when she is in agreement with his lit candle, she will go and light hers. If she is not in agreement, she will go and blow his candle out. That's the little part I missed, right? So same thing, but I just needed to add that little piece.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I mean, there's a little thing. We just got married 3 years ago. We've been together for over 5 years, but sometimes when you're getting those wedding gifts, you get those little cards and coupons that if you want to go. I still remember the book. Someone gave me a book that just have a little coupon and you give it to your spouse. So they have interesting things now, but if you make sure the meter is always full, you won't have to worry about it. So just make sure again, check in, understand where it's at. Don't let it go too long, because there's a tank. Don't let the tank get too far where you have to get to the check engine or the need gas light is coming on, right? Just make sure the tank stays full, and then I think you're going to get the spot.
That's good. All right, you guys, James or Pastor Vickers, you got anything?
Well, I think we've been married today for 4,330 days today, and there's a saying that we heard. What you did to get, you got to continue to do to keep. But we changed that around. Everything we were doing when we first started almost 12 years ago, we are just improving as we go. Like I said, we stay flirting with each other all day long. We all both bring up or earn what they call brownie points consistently. We did that because we learned each other's love language. I think that's a big thing that a lot of men have to get better at, learning your spouse's love language. And I was going to say Pastor Williamson, but he said making sure your spouse is taken care of. So my mental thought about my wife is always making sure she's good. It's not as a husband, it's not about me. It's all about my spouse, making sure she's good. And those that give, you shall receive. That's what the word says. So the more you give, the more you will receive. Now you take that how you want to take that, but giving is a way of life in the King household. We both love to give and bless each other tremendously. So men, give more, you get more. Give more, and you get more.
All right.
Joking but seriously. Yeah. Always be willing, learn that love language, because a lot of women don't feel loved by their spouse because they're not speaking the same language.
Mhm.
Learn her love language. If she enjoys quality time, but you keep buying her flowers, that ain't sexy to her. She don't want no flowers. She just want quality time. If her love language is acts of service, once again, she don't want no flowers. But if she loves flowers, get her flowers. Learn her love language. And ladies, learn his love language. Y'all learn each other's love language, then y'all always can speak to each other in the language that's understandable to your mate. Yeah, so.
Yes, sir.
Hey, before the next person go, I want to make one correction. This is one tank you want to be empty. So let me just clarify. I say always make sure this tank is full. This is one tank you always want to make sure it's empty. And I laugh because I thought my wife says when I have to travel, when I go out, she always says, "Oh no, you're not going out nowhere with no full tank." So she always got to make sure that the tank is empty for this part of marriage. So that correction. Back to you guys.
That's smart. I love
That's a
it.
good point. Good point. I love it, Brother Ryan. That was good. Well, with 31 years in, what God has blessed us to be able to do is fully communicate properly, right? Actually, to be honest, our bodies speak to each other. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We have deep conversations enough. We get in these laughing spells and what have you, and we start joking around with each other. We're like, okay, that's a part of our process of communication. And I just love the way we connect on that level, that it translates into intimacy. And that's what we do.
Wow, I love that. That's powerful. That is powerful. Thank you, guys. So, thank you for sharing that. I'll share this this funny thing. It's Tanya. I sometimes I'm like, okay, tonight is the night, right? And this lady get in the bed, and 5 minutes later, and I'm sitting there like, y'all. So we've been married 23 years. So earlier, I would get mad. Look, so I'm in the bed. I would turn the TV on and jack the volume up. I'm like, you ain't gonna sleep tonight, because I'm all mad, Anyway, y'all, she right over there. She laughing at me. But you learn each other. Thank you for sharing that, Pastor Vic, because that's powerful. Because Tanya and I, we play around with each other, do all this kind of stuff. So that is really awesome. Thanks for sharing it. So let's turn this corner right as we bring it to a close tonight. I know we've had you guys watching us for almost an hour. So let's talk about low libido, because it's a very serious thing. There's a chart that Tanya and I share when we're doing presentations, and it shows our human HGH, human growth hormone. In your 20s, you are just totally full of HGH. Then in your 30s, that shows a depletion. 40s, it depletes. 50s, you are half of your HGH level than your 20s. So we start experiencing those things when we get closer to that age. So what are you guys, what are some things, I know we have something we're going to tell you all about, but what are some things that we could do to help increase our libido?
I'll start. I think number one is exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Exercise. I know, Dexter, you were talking about those squats. In my class, we do squats called plie squats. So you take a wide stance, you angle your feet out, and you squat, right? And I was told that squats help actually increase your testosterone. The other thing that I do is that I take supplements. Years ago, before direct sales, I used to take ginseng, which is very good for libido. And I know that the company that we're all involved with, the Renew, assists with that too. As a matter of fact, the first time I tried it, I had to holler at my wife, like, "Hey, baby, hey, I'm something happening up in here. I need to holler at you." And so And I also take there's another supplement that I take that I can talk about that later, but it's been very effective. All of these products, all of these things have been very effective for me in helping help I guess enhance my sex drive.
That's good. Thanks, Avery.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Exercising, like I said earlier, more heard that more water, drinking enough water keeps you good. Exercising, more water, the supplements that I know we all are taking, even the coffee that we drink has Ganoderma in it. So we make sure that we just keep flooding our bodies with good things that's making sure everything is working properly. Yeah, so
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I also, everything's about blood flow. So, beet juice. There's a beet juice that I've been buying and I've been drinking. That's really good too. So that's another offer for you gentlemen. You, Ryan or Pastor Vickers, you got anything? I'm gonna, as you guys were talking, just wanted to show you what that looks like. This is what Avery just mentioned. This is Renew. Now, this little thing right here, you put this in some water. I'm telling y'all, this is it. This is the real deal right here, because this it increases your HGH, but also it has Tahitian noni juice in it. So you have this you take in the day, this you take at night, but inside of this is some of this. It's just such an amazing product that we all can speak to, and a lot of other men who are taking this product, they can just feel the effects on their body. So I just wanted to show you what it looks like. This is the box. Okay, let me see. Can I bring it in a little closer here? There it is.
Yeah, keep going.
Right there. Right there.
There it is. Yeah, we see it.
That's it right there. And then you have the stick here. Okay. All right, you guys can go right ahead.
I was just going to mention that mental clarity is a real important thing as well, because if your mind's not right, your body's not going to follow. So you got to clear your mind, de-stress, and just let it flow.
That's good.
Yeah, I'll just tag on that. Just managing anxiety, managing your stress. It's gonna be a big thing. Sometimes as men, you're so built for it that you don't even know that you're carrying that load because you're so used to doing it. Right? It's like if you put on ankle weights. Like I know we all thought we was gonna jump like Michael Jordan, right? So we all go buy these ankle weights, and about after 10 minutes of wearing ankle weights, it feels normal, right? Even though you got 10-pound, 15-pound, 20-pound weights on. You do it for 10 minutes, your body adjusts to the load. And then you say, well, this is normal. If you take those ankle weights off, you can jump out the gym for most people. Right? So you can tell the difference when it takes off. So stress is one of those things that after you've been carrying it for some time, it starts to feel normal to you. It's having effects on your body, but you don't notice it. It's connected to stress. So when you de-stress, you're going to feel yourself lighten the load. You're going to feel yourself start to, you can start relaxing your shoulders a little bit. But those anxiety and stress are going to be common things that hinders that drive. So just looking at that. And the things like Dexter talked about, the Renew is incredible, right? Getting some all natural wellness boosters like the Noni. I don't go a morning without my Noni and my Limu. I put it in like a little mixture, and then I kind of start my day. And then look at the coffees you're drinking too. Sometimes the sugar replacements or substitutes can also be some of those things that can hurt you. So just look at those things and make sure you're using good stuff. But yeah, I mean, Renew is incredible. Take that before you go to sleep. It actually has some cool colors. It changes colors, and it tastes very good as well. The new Renew is incredible. So apply some of those products.
Hey Dexter, can I jump in real brief? One thing I wanted to mention, I know that you have Cialis, Viagra, all of those supplements that are out there, but the issue with that is that there are always those side effects that's attached to it, right? And so a lot of times, you gotta go the natural route, guys. I mean, if you take these shortcuts just for sexual enhancement, you're gonna pay some type of price for that. So I just want to encourage people, encourage men married men, that, let's pursue, let's live a healthy lifestyle, because that healthy lifestyle kind of permeates throughout our whole life, mind, body, sexual health, all of that. So let's pursue that natural life.
Love that.
I was also going to say, I know we talked a lot about exercise and getting the energy up, but resting as well, getting proper sleep. Because I know a lot of times, like I talk about all the time, this time last year, I wasn't sleeping. Stuff was always on my mind. Like my mind was always on go. Even when I went to bed, I was still up thinking. And not properly resting. So going to bed tired, waking up tired wasn't working for me. But doing just the noni alone helped my rest so much. And the renew, I went to sleep, like dreaming, sleep, and haven't gotten that much rest in a long time.
Wow.
So being able to rest, sleep, but still wake up energized. That's a totally different feeling. That's a totally different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if that's something that you are dealing with as a man or a woman, that the noni and the renew, it'll definitely change that around. And getting that proper rest is going to allow your body to be what it needs to be as well. So
that's good. That's good. So, I'll say this real quick, guys, and then we'll do a round robin and close it out. One of the things that, because I started traveling in 2000, so 23 years ago, my job had me traveling. I was traveling 5 days one week, 4 days the next week. I was on the road all the time. And I noticed I wasn't sleeping well. So a gentleman recommended, he said, man, take your pillow from the house with you on the road. So I started doing that, but I was in and out of so many hotels. I still couldn't get good rest. And one thing that I started doing a long time ago, I still do it today. James mentioned rest. So for example, let's say tonight I feel a little anxious. I'll go turn that shower on, and I will be in the shower for an hour. And I'm talking about literally just laying down in the shower. I will fall asleep in the shower. I used to, when I traveled, I would be in hotels. I would just pull the curtain, close the door, and turn the shower on and just go to sleep in the shower. I might be in the shower for an hour and a half sleep. Water running, wake up, wipe off, go get in the bed, and I could sleep. So that's one thing that I really started doing, relaxing my muscles, and it will also relax my mental. So in closing, let's do this. If you all could just take a minute or two and address everyone that's watching to close it out, and we will go around robin, bring it back to me, and I'll close it down. And I see Pastor Vickers is on my screen first. So Pastor Vickers, any closing remarks that you have in this conversation?
Just straight to men, that all this discussion we've had, it's been focused on us. It's time for us to just step up and be accountable to the activities we are involved in. As married men, it's been said very clearly, we are to love our wives and our family with the utmost endeavor and intention. So we have to be at our very best. So we have to be that physically, mentally, and spiritually. So, and then it will translate intimately with a right type of sexual life. So I hope you hear us, because we're trying to just impart that to you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, so I'll just say it's important for me, and we got to take care of ourselves, right? And listen to how you're feeling, understand what's going on. Just don't push things off to think, oh yeah, it'll get better. Sometimes it may not, right? So listen to yourself. Do the things that work for you, right? Not everybody, the things that you may hear may not be something that does, work for you. We kind of put it like a buffet style. So, some of the things some of the men said definitely going to work for you, right? Because it's proven tried and true. So one thing I want to add is showers too. Hot and cold shower definitely does help with anxiety. So if you're feeling over anxious and you always take hot showers, try to shock it. Do a hot and cold shower. cool down the temperature. It definitely does help if you're just overly anxious or you just can't relax. The cold shower definitely help. But man, get help. Go to the doctor. Take care of yourself, your family, your body, your kids, your spouse, your business partners, your church family, your coworkers. We need you. So do what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Love that. Okay, James.
Thank you all for allowing us this platform tonight. Once again, is always a great conversation. My wife just put in the comments, when couples do things together, scientifically, it helps improve the health. So those who are married do more or start doing more things together. When it come down to health, when it come down to exercising, do it together. When it come down to eating properly, do it together. Do more things together, and your health will naturally improve just by doing that little bit. Yeah, but look at where you are and just simply make a decision. I deserve to be better, because when we do feel good, we do better in life. Yeah, so do what needs to be done. Take heed to everything that was said tonight. Do what needs to be done to ensure that you are at your peak self as much as possible.
That's good. That's good. Okay, Avery.
Yeah, I just want to kind of reiterate what everyone has said. I think, like Ryan said, this has been a buffet of information, right? So take what you've heard from this conversation, apply it. I think we're living at a time where knowledge is abundant, and the ability to do things are even abundant. So get off the couch. Let's start walking. Walk with your spouse. Ride a bike. Go to a park. Read a book. And I think the most important thing is that realize that there's God, right? And learning to trust and rely on Him has been one of the greatest things I could have ever done. He's redeemed me. He's made me the man that I am today. Blessed me with a wonderful wife and family. And so, we just want to encourage. We're doing this. I think Dexter I want to shout out to Dexter and the other men that are part of this movement. Is that we want to see men develop and experience the best of life.
Mm-hmm.
The best of life. We have sacrificed. Usually, I'd be doing some other things about this time, but because we want to see our community of men grow and become better, we've sacrificed this time just to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so use what's been shared, and I pray that your lives are enhanced as a result of it.
Awesome. Listen, I thank you for that, Avery. I want to say thank you to all of you that are watching. We had some other men that they couldn't get on tonight, very powerful men. Their stories are amazing. They couldn't get on, but you know what? I think you all deserve for us to come back. So I think we're definitely going to come back in August and continue this conversation. So to each of you gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. And we hope that's something that we all share that would, help enhance your marriage, and men, don't get on an island. Don't do that. We're all here together. We're all here to help. Now, each of the gentlemen that you see here, they can service you. If you want to try the Renew for yourself, get in touch with them. If you want to try a pouch of the Known or whatever, get in touch with them. They're going to service you. And we're going to make sure you get taken care of. We want everybody to have healthy lives. That is the goal. There are statistics that say that we are, as a people, the earth, everybody, we're living longer. As a matter of fact, Hallmark Cards did a study. They're selling more happy 80, 90, and 100 birthday cards than they ever have in the history of the world. So that means we're living longer. So we want you to live longer with your spouse. You guys enjoy each other. You want to go take that trip, go take that trip. You want to run with your grandkids, go run with your grandkids. We just want everybody to be healthy and to have a great time. So on behalf of the men here, this has been another Man Cave Conversations. Thank you all for your time and attention. We're going to see you on the next broadcast. We're going to make sure we get it out ahead of time so you guys can share it with your loved ones and friends and can be a part of the conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a great evening, everybody. God bless you all. Bless your marriage, and we'll talk to you next time. See you.